Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another trying new makeup. So many new products to try, but I really want to try out these new Cosmetics products on camera. I've had a lot of you ask. I did demo quickly one of the blushes in my Will I Buy It, but I haven't actually tried all of these products on camera for you. So we have the Sculpt and Contour or Bronze Sticks, and then we have the Cream Stick blushes. I also picked up this Glossier Solar Paint Luminous Bronzer Cream, and I'm trying to figure out if maybe I'll use one of the Sculpt sticks from Cosmetics and then use this to bronze. Also thought I would do a really cute, fun look with this Candy Skies palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. I thought this was so adorable. I just love the packaging and everything about it. I also have a sample of this Makeup Forever Reboot foundation. I never got to try it, but I did get a sample in a Sephora order, and I thought it would go well because it's more of a natural moisturizing foundation. So I thought it would play nicely with these cream products. I also have this Artist Couture multi-use beauty powder I picked up. This is supposed to be very smoothing, so I want to try this out on setting my face, see if it gives me that blurred effect. When I made my Glossier order, I picked up this Priming Moisturizer Balance. This is an oil control version. I've tried the original and liked it, so I thought I would try the oil control. And then when I made my Scott Barnes order, again, if you saw my Will I Buy It, I bought some of the single blushes, but I also got a couple more of his liquid lipsticks, and I did get some lip liners. These are new to me, so I wanted to try them on camera. I'm still testing them out. Really want to focus in on those cream products for my cheeks and the Candy Skies eyeshadow palette. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know down below if there's anything you want me to try. Thumbs up the comments so I know what you guys are interested in. I will also link all the products that I used today down below. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and begin. Before we start on the makeup, I did want to mention, because I'm getting so many comments about it, I have been wearing this Soul Body Face and Body makeup in the shade Medium 10 on my chest and my shoulders in my recent videos. A lot of you have been asking me what self-tan I use. I do mix the Dripping Gold Ultra Dark with the Bondi Sands Ultra Dark Arrow. I will link them down below. The Bondi Sands lasts really well, applies really well. It's not very sticky, and it wears off gracefully. The Ultra Dark from Dripping Gold is super dark, but it doesn't wear the best. So I like to mix them to get the best of both worlds. For some reason, my chest just never wants to take self-tanner evenly or as dark as the rest of my body. So I like to put this on my chest and on my shoulders. I just use a little bit of it with a foundation brush. I use the Tarte Airbrush Bamboo brush, and I just go over my chest and a little bit on my shoulders, and that's basically it. So I will link this down below. This has definitely become a favorite. I like it more than the KKW, and I even like it more than the Vita Liberata Body Blur. Now, in terms of transfer, I'm not out like running marathons, and it's really hot outside, so I really only go outside to walk my dogs or something like that. I've noticed that maybe a little bit of transfer on my clothing, but nothing crazy. Like when I lift up my shirt here, there's definitely a little bit of transfer, so I like to put it on and then dust it with like a bronzer or a powder just to sort of set it. But I want to say it lasts really well. So sometimes, like let's say I go to bed and I have it on in the morning, you really kind of have to scrub it off because it is a matte formula. It kind of like sticks onto your skin. It hangs on is what I'm saying. So I feel like it would be a good option if you're like going out or something. So I just wanted to mention that because I literally have never received so many just compliments on my tan, and it is my tan, but I also am using body makeup on my chest. So that's what you're seeing that's giving me that really dark, even color. All right, so now let's start on the eyes. I want to use this new palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. This is the Candy Skies palette, and it's a collaboration with her niece, Erin. I love the packaging on this. I just think it's such a fun release, and I thought it's just really well thought out just because it's such a fun color story. This is one of those that really caught my eye, and honestly, not a lot of palettes do. Now, my only thing is I wish there was like one or two deeper matte shades in here. I wish that this purple was a matte shade, or maybe even this like teal color. I had a hard time when I was using this for the lighter shades to figure out how to use this really deep shimmery shade because I had these really light mattes. I just had nothing to ground it or give it some depth on the outer corner. The pink was fine because you can see you have this like deep hot pink. Same thing with this purple though. You're almost like forced to use the pink just because you have to, well, you don't have to, but I like to get sort of like depth in the outer corner. I don't usually do a deeper shimmer with a lighter matte on the outer corner, if that makes sense. So I kind of wish that there was like one deeper matte like blue tone in here, and then this purple was deeper, but let me swatch some of these. So these are not toppers. These are full-blown shimmers, metallics with pigment, and they're really soft and creamy. I had no issues with those. And the mattes are more on the pastel side, I would say. They're very light and they're not like punchy neon. I mean, obviously they're pastels, but you really have to build them up. One thing I would say is put a base down, which I'm gonna do today with some of these lighter shades, like I would say this purple and these two specifically, or don't set your base. So put like a concealer or an eyeshadow primer on and don't set it so that you can really pack these on and then blend the edges so you can get the depth you're looking for, if that makes sense. So to give me a base and make these shadows pop, I'm actually going to use this Huda Beauty Matte and Metal eyeshadow duo. I haven't used this in a long time. This is in the colorway Froyo and Wednesday, but I'm going to use the matte side. I'm hoping this goes well. I remember enjoying these. Let me swatch it for you just so you can see. It's essentially just like a pastel base color. So I'm going to apply this on the lid and blend it out a little bit. This is just going to give me a base to pack these other shades on so I can really get just a vibrant look. I have not used these in so long. I'm a little nervous. I feel like I liked these though, but the easiest formula I've ever worked with in terms of like cream shadows is the Too Faced chocolate ones, chocolate melted. Make sure you're blending before it sets down. And again, I'm pulling it out. If it gets out of control, we'll just clean it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. So I'm not sure why, but this side is looking a little bit drier and more pink. Hopefully it'll be fine once we put this eyeshadow on top of it. So I am gonna go into the palette and I'm gonna use the shade E-Bug. I'm gonna pack this on this base, hopefully just make it pop. I'm just gonna use like a flat brush. The recycling men are here, so if you hear that. I'm just hoping that once I put this shadow on, you won't be able to tell. Winnie barking. She sounds like a chicken when she barks. She has like a really soft bark. When we first got her, we almost were a little bit worried that they had like removed her vocal thing because it was so soft. I think she was just still like nervous trying to figure out where she was, and now it's a little bit more boisterous. She's really come into her own, her little personality. She cracks me up. Okay, so I'm gonna go into E-Bug again, and I'm just gonna use like a new brush and blend over the edges here. So has anybody here, I know we've talked about Love Island, which Love Island US this season is so much better than UK. It's never been that way. I used to like hate Love Island US. The first Love Island US was tragic, like really bad. And then the second season was really good, and it's really good this season. But UK has always been like top tier, and I don't know what it is. I am so incredibly bored. Like nobody has connections, nobody's like funny. I don't know what is going on. It's like such a different feel, and I'm so like sad about it because I love the UK version so much. It's even like hard to watch, to be honest. Like I usually would be waiting for the episodes in the past, like so excited. And I have like 10 episodes I could watch right now on Hulu, and I'm like, I just am so bored with it. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping when they do Casa Amor, which is where they basically like send in 5 girls and 5 guys to tempt the other people. I'm like, if we can get 5 new guys and 5 new girls, maybe like things will switch up a little bit. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but the US version is definitely good. They definitely have a good cast. They're funny and outgoing. If you like shows like that, I don't know if you've seen Too Hot to Handle. It's not as good, but it's like easy. It's trash TV, okay? Me and Cheryl, we talk about our trash TV together. And we were watching the US version, which is like fine. It's basically they throw a bunch of hot people in a house and they think they're gonna party, and then they realize that they're not allowed to like kiss or do anything, and they have to basically like abstain from any sort of like sexual stuff. So it's basically like if they kiss and do stuff, they're gonna lose money. And anyway, so it's just kind of like an easy, stupid show to watch, like if you're bored, which I mean, I like to watch stuff like when I'm cleaning or when I'm doing laundry, cleaning my brushes. But there's a new version on Hulu, and it's the Brazil version. And let me tell you, these people are lit. Okay, first of all, they're all so gorgeous, especially the women. I'm like, whoa, like gorgeous, and they're all like outgoing and feisty. It is just like worlds better. So if you're looking for trash TV, honey, I got you. Too Hot to Handle Brazil, that's on Netflix. And then Love Island US is on CBS, I think right now. And then also I saw that Love is Blind. I don't know if you guys saw that, but essentially people like fall in love through talking and they don't see each other until they actually like choose their partner. I think season 2 is coming like anytime now. So, you know, we've got all the reality TV we can handle over here. So I think I want to do a little tiny bit of a shimmer, maybe just on the inner corner. So I'm going to go in with Macaroon, which is this purpley sort of shift, but I'm just going to do a little bit of it. And I'm using that same brush, dry. Okay, maybe I'm going to wet that actually. So I went ahead and wet it. Yeah, it's definitely more intense when you wet it. I don't want to do a ton. I just want to do like this inner corner here. So I want to know what kind of makeup you guys have been wearing recently. I feel like every day I'm very basic, but when I film, I like to change it up, and I felt like I was getting in a rut. I was always doing just like the wing liner and the bare lower lash line. So then I started doing like smoky lower lash line in a couple videos, and you guys really loved it. So I've been playing around with that, and I've also been playing around with like mixing tinted moisturizers, stuff like that, with my matte foundation to get the best of both worlds. I've actually been loving the ColourPop original tinted moisturizer. I remembered really liking it, and I was thinking like, I haven't played with that in such a long time. So I pulled it out and mixed it with my NARS, and I loved it. So I did my wing off camera. I used the tattoo liner from KVD. It, of course, got thicker than I wanted. That's just kind of the way it goes. And then I also did apply these Flutter lashes in 398. I'm not sure if they're available anymore. These are pretty old, but we'll see, and I'll link them if I can. I'm going to take some of my Ole Henriksen Banana Bright eye cream. I've been enjoying this. This is going to last me forever. I use it just during the day. And at night, I've been using one from the brand Vichy, and it's like a fine line anti-aging one, and I like it so far. It's not irritating me, but I've only been using it for a couple weeks. But I definitely have some more on a list to try. So I'm just sort of giving these products a chance. I just started my dishwasher, and I literally feel like it's flooding down there. I keep looking like panicked, but nothing's happening. I don't know what I did. Maybe something just wasn't put in there right, because it's like clanking around like it never has before. I'm like, So for actual primer, I want to try this Glossier one that I purchased. I originally tried the regular priming moisturizer, and I liked it. Just like a very basic moisturizer. That's typically what I go for because I don't like overly scented. I just don't like something that's going to break me out. I just like kind of basic moisturizers. So this is the Priming Moisturizer Balance. This is an oil control gel cream. I've not tried this one, so I thought that I would give it a chance. It has a pump, and I basically was making my order for the luminous bronzer, and I was like, okay, I need to like try something else out. It definitely has a scent, but it's nothing crazy, and it does come out like a gel. I filmed yesterday that trying new makeup, and I had a reaction to that Embryo Lisse, which was very strange. Not something I typically like deal with. I'm not really super sensitive to products, but I'm not burning today, so that's good. And I also did mention in that video that instead of a pore blurring primer, I've been trying out just putting a little bit of a translucent powder. And when I say a little bit, like very little bit. And I'm liking it so far. It's a new thing for me. I've only done it for like a week or so. Yesterday I didn't really love the foundation I tried, so that kind of skewed my thoughts. So I just keep trying it out. I use the Huda Beauty one, and I just very lightly dust it instead of doing a pore filling primer. I just do it really on my T-zone. So for complexion, because we are going to be using cream products, I wanted to try out a hydrating base. I have this sample that I got with one of my orders, and this is the Makeup Forever Reboot Foundation. It says a skin revitalizing foundation that adds radiant satin finish while hydrating, smoothing, and firming the skin for up to 24 hours. Light coverage, radiant finish. I'm hoping I can make this work with the shades that I have, because I really only have 2 little samples purples that I feel like I can use. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix these two shades up here. They are Y315 and Y225. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Obviously these ones would be too deep for me, so I'm hoping I have enough product. Because it is light coverage, I do tend to like more of like a medium coverage. I'm hoping it's somewhat buildable. So I've mixed the two on the back of my hand. It looks like it's a pretty thin formula. Hopefully this is buildable. Ooh, heavily fragranced. Why do they do that? Definitely noticing that fragrance. Same thing with like the Tarte yesterday. Pretty finish though. It says it's light coverage, but I feel like this is workable light coverage. It's definitely radiant, but I have to say it looks really nice. They do say it is smoothing, which we'll have to see once I set it, but it doesn't appear to be really enhancing. I mean, of course it is radiant, but it's not heavy. So here is the Makeup Forever Reboot Foundation, freshly applied. I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't know how this is gonna wear, but I like that it's radiant. It's not heavy though. It was enough coverage for me. I really didn't have to do a ton of layers. I would say it's a light, buildable to medium coverage. It didn't do that funky thing where it doesn't stick to my nose. That's something that I deal with a lot of foundations, like even the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop, which I like. So it's definitely radiant, but it's not heavy, not gunky. I do wanna powder my T-zone and see, you know, how it really plays with powder. Definitely is hydrating, but I really like it. The only thing I don't like is the fragrance, which I wish they would have omitted, but I want to move on and see how it plays with these cream products. So I have these multi-sticks from, or the multi-face play sticks from M Cosmetics. It says a modern lightweight formula that can be used for bronzing or contouring. And then it basically just says use your fingers, a brush, a sponge. So there's 4 different shades. I liked that they had a range of shades. So I'm in between 2 right now because I want to use that Glossier bronzer. So I think I'm going to go in with the cool tone shade and try to do a little bit of contouring. So let me swatch the 2 for you. This is what the packaging looks like. There's no brush or anything like that. So I think I'm going to use this shade Terra. Very creamy, very pigmented. Now I use the blushes in my Will I Buy It, but I haven't tried the cream bronzers on the face. So this is Summer and this is Terra. So because I want to use that Glossier bronzer, I'm going to try Terra and try to do just a little bit of contouring and see how these blend. So I'm actually going to use this Sonia G brush that I got in a set. It's called the Fusion series and this is the mini base. These brushes are specifically for creams and liquids. So I want to try this out. I'm going to just rub my brush into the product and it's very creamy. I want to see how it applies. Yeah, so definitely is pigmented. So I'm going to kind of run it on the back of my hand and then go in. So once I've sort of set product down, I'm going to start to buff in. And I feel like I always go a little bit too high right here. Hopefully I can do better on the other side. So I'm just using my sponge with the leftover foundation. So I'm not noticing any lifting or any issues blending. For me, I just have the hardest time doing like a cream bronzer or contour. I just feel like I either go too low or too high. So I'm gonna have to play around with that. I'm gonna try to take a little bit up here. Now when I use the blush, I use the blush over powder. So this is my first time using these on an unset face. So this is one side done. I do feel like it did its job, but I just really struggle with cream contour and where to place it exactly. I'm gonna try to use my sponge actually on this side. Maybe it's just the brush that wasn't working perfectly for me. So I'm just gonna dip my sponge onto the stick. And I feel like this is a lot easier for me. I just always prefer a sponge 99% of the time with cream products. So this is the M Cosmetics stick in Terra blended out. I really didn't have any issues blending it. I personally just have a hard time placing contour, probably because I have more of a wide round face. I don't have like crazy, you know, divots in my cheekbones or under my cheekbones. I don't have crazy hollows in my cheeks to really give me that contoured look. And I feel like I either pull it too low or I pull it too high, which is why I do my concealer afterwards. It didn't, you know, skip. I didn't have any issues blending it. I like it more with a sponge. So I don't think the product is bad. It's just not my favorite type of product, but I want to try this Glossier, and this is where I'm a little nervous because I'm going to be sort of like layering it. But I picked this up. I was very intrigued. I have not even swatched it or anything. So this is called their Solar Paint Luminous Bronzer Cream. That's why I wanted to use the contour from Cosmetics, so I could use this to give me some glow. And the packaging is interesting. It has a doe foot applicator on it. The only other brand that I've seen do really luminous bronzers that are creams would be Tower 28. So I got the shade Ray. I mean, it's definitely a thin texture, but it definitely has, you know, a luminosity to it, so it's not matte. I'm not going to be putting it right on my face just because I don't do that anyways, but I'm just gonna take the sponge that I just used and pat off the back of my hand and see if it gives me a glow, if it enhances my texture. Hopefully it doesn't lift up my products. So I am just taking my sponge and working it in. And the shades on these were interesting because they almost looked like coppery. Some of them looked bronzy, coppery, just interesting. Like almost like the bronzers, I couldn't say that, bronzers from Bare Minerals. I haven't tried those, but they were interesting because they had sort of like red undertones in some of them. So I'm gonna do one side and we'll kind of compare here. Seems to be blending fine. It's a very thin texture. So here is the Glossier on this side and then just the contour from Cosmetics on this side. Very easy to use. Very easy to use. I had no issues. I really love this Stands Out sponge for cream products. I've just been playing with it more and it really just works beautifully. I do prefer a sponge, but something about this, it's just so light and fluffy that I feel like you don't have to be careful about the pressure you're using because it is so soft. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this on the other side. I mean, I feel like it's pretty easy, straightforward. Now, again, I wouldn't just put it straight on my skin. I don't do that with like literally anything. So I can't speak to that. I know it has the doe foot applicator, but for me, that's like asking to patch and stick. I don't find it's like Tin Man. It does definitely have a luminosity to it, but I feel like it looks nice and healthy. I would say it's not as, I guess, illuminating as the Tower 28. This is definitely a lighter, thinner texture for sure. The Tower 28 are like a balmy feel. I mean, these definitely have a tack to them, but it's a very thin texture, so it's not heavy or, I don't know, I guess as like balmy as the Tower 28. So now I'm gonna go in with my concealer just to kind of balance out the face. I'm probably gonna use the Cosmetics blush once I set my face and everything because I really like to use cream blushes over a set face just so I don't have to put powder over them and mute them. I just don't really like that. So I'm gonna be using the Tint Idole from Lancome. Still testing this out, really enjoying it. Pretty much have my thoughts on it though. It's just very nice and hydrating, gives you a nice coverage, just easy. I feel like a lot of people would love this. I love their foundation, so I'm not really shocked that I like this. I really just feel like this is a no fuss concealer. Just blends literally that fast. It's not cakey, it's not drying, but it gives you coverage. You can definitely build it, like if you want to put a little bit more. So next I want to try out this new Artist Couture powder. This is the Multi-Use Beauty Powder. I have the shade Creme Brulee. It's supposed to be a light to medium coverage satin finish, and it's supposed to basically just blur the skin. The packaging's really nice and weighted, and I just saw a bunch of reviews that said that it was blurring. I think there was like 8 reviews, all 5-star. So I want to try this on my T-zone. I'm a little nervous. I hope it doesn't get too deep. That's like my only thing, but I got a light shade, hopefully that it would work for that. So I dipped into the powder and I'm going to press it right under my eyes. And I'm gonna make sure that I set this concealer. I'm also gonna go on my chin. So I feel like any powder smooths. I don't know if it's as smoothing on my T-zone as I'm used to. It definitely didn't brighten, but I think that's just the shade that I chose. I don't know if I'm loving it right here. I feel like it's going to maybe get a little bit cakey, but we're gonna just go with it, and I'm gonna set the other side of my face. I do feel like maybe it darkened under my eye a little bit, just looking at how it was bright on this side. Am I crazy or does it oxidize a little bit? Because I just did it here and it looks a little bit lighter than this side. Interesting. Now to set the M Cosmetics bronzer in the Glossier, I'm going to use my Dior powder in 3. This is the best powder I've tried to set cream products. And I'm going to use my Beauty Blender Pocket Puff. And I just basically press very lightly. This powder is one of those that really makes you feel like you didn't even set. If you have dry skin, I think you would really love it. And it just works the best over cream products. I'm actually going to mix it with a little bit of the Sugar Mama shade. Hopefully I can just get a little bit more punch out of it. Like 1 dip into that pink and then a couple into the purple. Yeah, I definitely feel like that helps. So that's what I was saying. I almost wish that there was like a deep matte purple in here just to really make this pop. And then I'm going to take this really tiny brush. This is a Morphe M515 and focus more so on the pink. And I'm going to see if I can get just a little bit more depth right up by the lash line. Yeah, I like that. See, I just wish that this dark shimmery purple in here was a matte. I mean, I can totally go into any other palette that I have, so it's like not a big deal, but I just, for review purposes and doing a look just with one palette, I find myself like wanting to go in and get deeper shades. So next I want to try this new Kylie Cosmetics gel eyeliner pencil. This is the reformulated. I purchased this with my order and I got the shade Nude. I really just wanted to see how this was. It felt very creamy, so we'll just try this out in the waterline today. Okay, nice and pigmented. Definitely pigmented. I like the color of it because it is a creamy color. It's not stark white, but it still brightens quite a bit. I don't believe I've ever tried her original eyeliners. So pleasantly surprised with that. It really did brighten up. I like the tone. And when I tried to wipe this off my hand, I mean, it's like really on there. So I'm assuming it's very creamy, but once it sets down, it'll be there for a while. So since I'm still testing some of these Kylie Cosmetics products, I want to go in with the bronzing powder in Toasty. I just want to sweep this over the bronzer that I already have from M Cosmetics just to really intensify and maybe set it down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do my highlighter before I go in with the M Cosmetics blush. I'm going to be using the Kylie Cosmetics and Ice Me Out. I used this yesterday, wasn't a huge fan. It's okay, but I felt like it enhanced my texture. It looked a little bit too ashy. It looks like it's a baked gelée, but it really kind of isn't. It's kind of powdery, not crazy powdery, but when you use it, you can tell that it's a powder. It's not like the Dior Backstage like I thought it was. I'm gonna be using the Classic Cheek from Sonia G. Because this one, I feel like you can use a bigger brush. It's just, when you pick it up, it's hard to see, but like powder flies. So I'm going to try to really dust this lightly. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this, but it definitely just shows texture, which is really not something I noticed usually. I'm not like crazy, like, oh, I can't have any texture, so it's not something that really bothers me, but I have other formulas that I really enjoy that I don't feel like accentuate any texture on my cheeks. Like, I don't know if you can see right there, it just looks a little ashy. Okay, finally on to the exciting part, which is applying the cream blush. So these are the new So Soft collection from M Cosmetics. There's 6 different shades and they have the same packaging as the bronzer and contour. I'm trying to figure out what shade I want to use today. This shade might be a contender. This is called Lychee. It's a little bit of like a peachy pink. I did try the really, really crazy one, which was called Passion, in my Will I Buy It if you're interested. I love this, but it's not gonna go with what I have right now. And I was looking at Baby, which is a really light pink, but I feel like it might be a little bit too light. This one right here. I'm leaning towards Lychee. So they also have some of the deeper ones, like this one, which is called Bitten. So they really have like 3 light ones and then 3 deeper ones. They also have Venetian Rose. which looks really pretty. But I think today I'm gonna go in with Lychee. So I'm just gonna take my sponge. It's actually stained from other cream blushes, but I'm gonna take my sponge and just sort of run over this. It's pigmented, but it's not anything where I feel like you can't blend it out like the Rare Beauty or something like that. You can see like on the back of my hand, it just blends nicely. And this is over powder. And I'm gonna punch this up because I want to, and that's what I always do. Really pretty. I don't know what it is, but I can totally work with cream blushes. Something about cream bronzers and contours are just not my jam. I'm gonna pull this up. I've been doing that recently. And there you go, look how pretty. So my recommendation is if there's any of the blush colors that you like, I would recommend definitely the blushes. I don't think that the cream contour was bad. I literally struggle, not struggle, but I feel like I just have to finesse it and really be careful where I place it. And I just don't really like that. I want to have products that are easy to use, that work like this. It took me 30 seconds. My blush is on, it looks beautiful. I didn't have any lifting. I'm actually gonna live on the wild side and take a little bit of Passion. I'm gonna take a little bit, okay? So I'm just gonna take my sponge, dip in there, pat off on the back of my hand. Oh, it's so pretty. I don't know if you guys can tell a difference, but I feel like it just punched it up a little bit. And it's so easy. Like when you look at it, it looks scary, but it's totally not. And I'm even gonna pull a little bit over here just to give me that like sun-kissed look. Okay, so I wanna go ahead and finish off the lips, finish off this look. I'm gonna be using the Scott Barnes Glamazon Lip Pencil in Tyra. When I bought a couple of the single blushes, I picked up some lip pencils and then also some liquid lipsticks. I already know I love his liquid lipsticks. I feel like they're one of the better formulas that doesn't get really dry and cracky. I'm new to the lip liners. They are a pencil form. I'm just still trying them out, so I wanna kind of use them more and get my thoughts. So I'm gonna be using the shade Tyra. So this is what the Scott Barnes lip liner in Tyra looks like. It's a little bit deeper than I thought, and it's more creamy than most pencils like this. Sometimes I think about like the MAC pencils. It's definitely more creamy than that, but it's not too creamy. I just don't know if I like the way it wears in the corners of my mouth. I feel like it might get a little bit like lines or clumpy there, but I'll have to keep testing it out. For lipstick, I'm gonna use his liquid lipstick in Strut. This is one of my favorite colors to wear with a brown liner, especially with like light pastel eyes. And I do like his lipstick formula. It has a doe foot applicator. I just feel like his shades are really beautiful, but I also like the formula. It's not super dry like the Kylie. It's more of like a thin, moussey texture. So I like to just apply it to the center and blend it in. So this is what it looks like. The lip liner is a little bit deep for this eye look. I'm going to take a little bit of my Alamar Cosmetics lip gloss in Chula. I love using this just to lighten things up. Just basically in the center. All right, guys, here's my finished makeup look using all new products, and I'm gonna go over my thoughts, starting out with the Laura Lee Los Angeles palette. I think the packaging on this palette is absolutely gorgeous. I really like the color story. It just stood out to me. I really was excited to use it. My only complaint is the fact that I wish there was a deeper matte purple and a deeper matte blue shade. Other than that, I think it blends beautifully. It's a really just nice, soft pastel color story. This is not going to give you a deep look. It's a very pastel kind of watercolor look. You're going to really want to use a base as well. I would say not setting your eye base or using something like I did underneath, or even using like a paint pot in a lighter color than your skin tone, just to really make them pop. But you can really get some fun looks that aren't neon, just more of that little pop of color for summer. Gonna have to keep playing with this Glossier Priming Moisturizer. I really want to see how it controls my oils in my T-zone specifically. So this is something that I'm gonna to have to use for a, you know, long period of time with different foundations, different powders. But so far so good. It didn't get weird under my foundation. It's a very gel-like consistency. It didn't irritate me. So far so good on this one. In terms of the Makeup Forever Reboot, I will say that again, it is one of those really hydrating formulas. So this is not going to be the most smoothing, but it's going to give me that natural look. That's why I wanted to use it today with the cream products from M Cosmetics. I like the coverage on it. I like that it didn't feel heavy. It's set down. I am noticing that I still am just a little bit oily around my T-zone. This could be because of this, could be also because of the Artist Couture powder. I didn't use my typical Huda Beauty. I do want to see how it wears throughout the day, see if it slips and slides. Again, it definitely is looking a little bit glowy in my T-zone, which I typically don't love, but I don't think it looks bad. I really think it looks healthy and I like the coverage on it. Still enjoying the Lancome concealer. I think this is probably going to become a favorite of mine. It's just super easy to use. It's not drying. It gives me the coverage. It's smoothing, lasts all day. So I'm really liking this. Little unsure about this Artist Couture powder. I'm quite picky with my powders. Typically, I enjoy a loose powder in my T-zone. I don't typically use a pressed powder. If I do, it's usually like the J-Cat or even the Charlotte Tilbury. Pups in here, so if you hear him, he's been outside and he's panting. It's so hot out here. He goes outside for like 2 minutes and then comes back in. So I'll keep trying this Artist Couture. This might be one that I like more so on the perimeter of my face, which tends to be the case with most pressed powders. Not surprisingly, I'm not in love with the contour stick from M Cosmetics. Not any fault of the product, just my personal preference. I really didn't have any issues blending it. I just feel like I didn't get that sculpted look. I tend to get a more sculpted look with powders, probably because, like I said before, I have a rounder face. I'm a little thick, honey. I'm curvy. So I like to contour to really just kind of shape my face because I have, you know, a wider, chunkier face, if you will. And I feel like with cream contours, I either pull it too low or I pull it too high. So it's just something that I feel like takes a little bit too much finessing for me, but the product itself was fine. You guys saw how it blended. I didn't struggle. I actually really like the Glossier. This is the Solar Paint Luminous Bronzer Cream. I thought it was super easy to work with. It gave me a nice radiance, but it wasn't like a Tin Man. So I'm interested to keep trying this, maybe just alone and not with the M Cosmetics. But I really liked how thin this was. It wasn't overly glittery or anything like that, but it did give me a nice warmth to the skin with a little bit of luminosity. Still testing out the reformulated Kylie Cosmetics products. The bronzer I think I like, but I'm not wowed by. Again, I've only used it twice though with 2 new foundations. So this is one of those that I'm gonna have to just keep using and keep using with foundations I know I love and new foundations, see how it reacts. I don't dislike it, I just don't know if the tone is my favorite. And I really don't think I love the highlighter. I really thought it was gonna be like the ABH Amrezy, and it just is a little bit more powdery. You can feel it, like when you touch it, it has that powder feel. And it just seems to be a little bit ashy and leave a little bit of a sort of like a cast depending on which way you turn. I don't know. It's okay. Again, all the Kylie products, like they're okay, but I'm not like losing my mind over any of them. Touching on the Kylie Cosmetics liner, I do like this. I feel like it's still hanging on, very comfortable to put on. Probably a standout for me in the Kylie products. Probably this and the blush are the 2 things that I really enjoy the most. I'm not really into the lip kit. It's too dry. And the highlighter and bronzer are just okay. This was nice because it's not stark white, but it still gives you that brightness. Creamy going on, but it's set, and I don't think it's moving, and it was hard to get off my hands, so that tells me it's going to be long wearing. So I think this is a good formula. We'll see how it goes if I end up picking up maybe like a brown or a black. Standout product for me is the M Cosmetics blush sticks. I just think these are absolutely beautiful. Passion is gorgeous. I just can't get enough of this. This is my favorite one, hands down. I love that lychee that I used. I've also used baby one time. That one was a little bit light for me. So I would say passion and lychee are like my 2 standouts, the ones that I used today. Easy to use, goes over powder. I had no issues, no lifting, no skipping, and my cheeks do feel, you know, like I have a cream on, but they're not sticky like a thick balm. So these are a hit for me. Feeling pretty so-so about the Scott Barnes lip liner. I feel like they're creamy enough, but they're not too creamy where they're slipping and sliding. I don't know if I like the way that it gathers in the outer corners of my mouth. Sometimes lip liners do that and they feel like a little bit gunky when you fill in the outer corners, but I'll have to keep trying it. I feel like the Tyra shade is just a little bit too deep and the other shade I got was a little bit too light. I'll just keep keep playing around with it, but I feel like it's just a standard lip liner. It's not really standing out to me, but I really do love his liquid lipsticks. I really like the formula. They are just comfortable. They layer well. They're not sticky to where your lips are like tacking together, and they don't give you that really cracked, dry feeling. A liquid lipstick is a liquid lipstick, but this is one of the more comfortable one, and I have 3 now, and I really like the shades as well. So that is everything for this trying new makeup. I will link all the products down below, and I want to hear your thoughts on how the products performed. What are you picking up? What are you interested in? I know a lot of you wanted to see the M Cosmetics in action as well as the Glossier. So hopefully this video helped you out. Of course, I will continue to use these products, try them out, and then come back and give you my full review. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.